And today I want to talk to you guys about a very interesting restaurant. It's called the Heart Attack Grill. Unbelievable. I've seen this place before, and I've seen it on the Food Network, some of the other cable TV shows talked about it. But I just happened to come across it, and they did a longer version of what's going on in the Heart Attack Grill. And basically what's going on is this place promotes bad food. And they're basically honest about it. They're not denying it, and it is what it is. And you're going to be seeing basically how they run their organization. It's a novelty. It's very clever. You're going to listen to the owner. The owner, actually, his history, did some research on him. He actually was early in his life a personal trainer, and he actually taught weight loss as his career. And people would never follow their diets, and so he came up with this idea of this restaurant called the Heart Attack Grill, which they're very open about what they do. And basically, you're going to see they're going to cook their French fries in lard, and I'll talk about that. And basically, they're completely honest about what Americans want versus Burger King, McDonald's, Wendy's, Kentucky Fried Chicken. They're not really honest about what they're giving the American people. But these guys are saying, look, come here. This is what it's going to do to you. And you eat this food. And it is what it is. And the place is packed. Because they're not being deceptive. They're not lying. It's true. So you're going to see this. It's a pretty amazing place. I would never go into this place, but the place is packed. So let's take a look at it. It's a little long. It's about 12 minutes, but it's worth watching. And I'll give you my take on it because there's two sides to the story. All right, let's run this video. I'll be back.
I eat here every day, so why not have fun with it and go with it as long as I can.
Sadly, we now know how long that was. Blair died last week at the age of 29. His family says the cause of death was pneumonia. The CDC says every year, 112,000 deaths can be linked to obesity. When your spokesperson drops dead at the age of 29, and he's morbidly obese by anybody's estimation, don't you have a problem?
Absolutely. Who wouldn't?
Jon Basso owns the Heart Attack Grill. As part of the act, he dresses up like a doctor.
Every single person cared about Blair. Had he have been thinner, he most probably would have survived that pneumonia. And that's a hard fact that I'm not here to deny.
There's an argument to be made that you used this guy during his life, and that now you are very morbidly using his death to continue to promote your restaurant.
I absolutely agree. And in a very sick way, his death has gotten the message out further.
So this man's death has not given you pause at all?
Zero pause. I hope that every single person out there comes in and buys a hamburger and a t-shirt from me. But you know what? I am saying loudly and as clearly as any business in America can, this is dangerous.
Blair, you say, was also your friend in addition to working with you.
I loved working with him.
Do you have a conscience at all?
My conscience is simply this. What would Blair, hovering above me, want me to do right now? And Blair would say this: put back on the stethoscope. Let's keep being the doctor that everyone loves to hate, because that really gets the message out.
To keep delivering that message, a week after Blair's untimely death, the Heart Attack Grill has another spokesmodel.
Here you go.
Ernie Hart. The fact that you stuffed him full of burgers for free as often as he wanted, what share of the responsibility do you have for his death?
The equal share with anybody who provided junk food to anybody.
Aren't you glorifying obesity, which obviously kills?
Absolutely. I think it would be immoral to stop at this point.
Explain that to me.
We're past the point of no return at the Heart Attack Grill. We have blood on our hands at this point. Taste worth dying for. That's what we're focused on. We're not concerned with side implications, little trivial things such as whether or not you'll live long. We have a large sign right on the door that says, "Caution, this establishment's bad for your health." Everybody knows that. What we're here to do is to exercise our freedoms as American citizens. We should have the freedom to kill ourselves if we want to. And I should be allowed to provide that deadly diet to anybody who wants to take it.
He depicts himself as Jesus Christ at the Last Supper, dining with the industry's other giants.
You guys, we are actually rolling now. Actually rolling.
Dr. John's Vegas location is double the size of his old place in Arizona, and his in-house fatality rate, it hasn't slowed a bit. How many people have actually had heart attacks in the room that we're sitting in?
In the room that we're sitting in, we've had 3 heart attacks.
And how many people have died?
1. Now, I would like to say that the other 2, I did the grandest of favors for, because they now uniquely and in a very real way understand their own genetic shortcomings. Now, the one that I couldn't save was a very dear friend of mine. And I want to tell you something. They'll say it's grotesque. They'll say, how can you keep the man's cremation here? And I'll tell you something. I am setting the bag on the table. And I challenge any other restaurant to set the bag on the table. I'm talking about a bag of truth, about what's not going to happen if you don't listen to me. This will happen. This was a good man with hopes and dreams who couldn't control his eating habits.
Inside this bag are the remains of yet another spokesman, John Ailman. He ate at the restaurant every day. But people are actually dying. So that's kind of where the gig has to stop. What do you say?
People are dying. People will continue to die. Can they just stop, pause, and reflect upon the food for thought that I'm selling? It's not hamburgers, it's not t-shirts, it's not french fries. I'm selling you food for thought and a good laugh. Let's all have a good time. But let's really digest this. Let's think a bit, or we're going to end up exactly like my friend in the bag. Ooh, Jasmine, can we have the cigarettes as well? A filter on a cigarette, it's like a condom during sex. We're selling a legal but lethal commodity. And we're selling it and selling it and selling it.
When there are lights and sirens outside and they're bringing some person out on a gurney, you're basically in the back room counting money at that point.
Absolutely. Was that heart attack good for business? Did that heart attack pad my wallet with money? Absolutely. Did I enjoy that? Absolutely. I'm a businessman first and foremost. Let's be clear about something. I'm not peddling hamburgers to small children without parental guidance. These are adults purchasing a legal substance from me. I want one and only one thing. I want my message out there loud and clear. I am a believer that when people hear my message, the net health benefit to society is incredibly good. People wonder how I sleep at night, like a baby. Here's the thing. Our restaurant serves bad for you food. Other restaurants serve bad for you food. We're honest, they're not. Plain and simple, if everybody collectively got together and told the world all restaurant food is bad for you, then maybe we would save a few lives. Because I don't want to see people dead. Now, if they do die here, I'm not going to lie to you. That's great for business. I'll say it again. Death is great for business at the Heart Attack Grill.
Jon Basso, who's the owner of the Heart Attack Grill, joins me now from Las Vegas. Thanks, sir, for joining us. Your friend, Jon Ailman, who I sense you were close to, I mean, he died. He had a heart attack. he was a spokesman for the restaurant. How did you, I mean, did you feel at all responsible for that?
I feel absolutely responsible. Anyone who were putting burgers in his mouth on a daily basis should feel responsible. Now, granted, we would warn him continuously. We'd say, hey, John, no, those burgers are going to kill you. He'd laugh it off, but John, if he did have the ability to be hearing us right now, would simply say one thing: I won't trade the experience for anything, because the experience, his last year and a half of his life, was a fun one. Any weight that he would have gained, by the way, he didn't. He remained about 180 pounds the entire time. But the diet that he underwent certainly wasn't good for him.
You also give away these burgers for free, if my understanding is correct, to people who already weigh over a certain amount. So you're incentivizing them even more to perhaps worsen their already existing problem. Isn't that true?
If a customer, or I call them patients, walk through the door and this patient is 400 pounds, do I either ban him from the door and say, no, sir, this isn't in your best interest, you should leave, or do I give him the burger with a smile on my face and pat him on the back and send him to his table?
But you do neither one of those things. You give it for free.
Exactly. I've chosen a third route. And that is, yes, I'll give him his burger so I'm not slapped with a discrimination suit. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give him his burger along with a lesson. I serve burgers, I serve fries, and I serve food for thought.
Sir, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of ways to get this message across. I can't imagine that your way is going to work. I'm not saying I know the right way, but this just seems dangerous.
As Mark Twain said, all things in moderation, including moderation. I don't preach moderation. That's a tired mantra. I tell people they have to turn it loose every once in a while. The only way you're going to take care of your health issues is to decide, hey, today is Thursday and it's my cheat day, and I'm going to have a burger this big if I want to.
All right, Jon Basso, thanks for joining us. An interesting point of view. Again,
sure. Thank you.
I'm not sure I completely agree, but...
Well, my next guest says that Dunkin' Donuts is simply caving into the fat police. He's Jon Basso. He's the owner of something called the Heart Attack Grill. It's in Phoenix, where everything is cooked in lard, and they have no plans at all to cut trans fats. He is the author of the Heart Attack Grill diet. So, John, you're not changing anything.
Of course not. I feel that these companies have lost their integrity by changing their game plan in the middle of the stream to meet societal taste. The Heart Attack Grill has always done things deep fried in pure lard, and we always will. It's a matter of taste.
Okay, now you're not a real doctor, are you?
Well, Julius Erving settled that one back in the 70s, so let's just call me Dr. John.
Okay, well, you're not a doctor, okay, and you have things like single bypass burgers that go all the way up to quadruple bypass burgers that I guess could do a wonder on your arteries. Now, the critics are going to come after you and say, hey, in this day and age, not the good thing to do. You're saying what?
I say live for the day. The Heart Attack Grill, like every restaurant should be, is a place to enjoy one's life. Eat to the fullest, have fun, and don't worry about what people are telling you. If you want a second opinion, I'll give you a second opinion.
So there's going to be growing pressure in your community to do this, and it will begin with protests. It will continue ad nauseum, one after another, saying, hey, this is not the politically correct thing to do. You're telling me you will never bend, you will never waver?
I am an American citizen. My customers, or patients as I call them, are American citizens, and we will eat what we want to. But I have to note to you, sir, that the lard we use has less saturated fat, less calories than your average tab of butter. There's no trans fat in lard, which is what we've always used. The change shifting from one synthetic option to another synthetic option simply to buck the trans fat is ludicrous. Why don't they just use a better form of fat like the Heart Attack Grill? Pure lard. It's taste worth dying for.
Well, we are right this respect, John, that it does change. Our preferences and worries change.
We've both doubled in terms of money, in terms of square footage, but we've exponentially grown when you want to talk about extending the message.
All right, I'm back. That was quite interesting. I couldn't take my eyes off of it when I was watching it. All right, let me give you some intake on what I thought about this guy. The guy, the owner. I don't recall his name. I didn't write his name down. Again, I was telling you before, he's very honest. And the first part was that his partner died of a heart attack. Now, his partner was 570 pounds and he was only 29 years old, and he was his spokesperson for the heart attack grill and actually died in the grill. They said he had died of pneumonia. But the moral of that story is, the guy was 570 pounds, so this is his lifestyle that he chose to live. And so, is the heart attack grill responsible? Not really. He's not totally responsible because this is the lifestyle that this guy wanted to live. So he was completely honest. Did he miss the guy? Did he like the guy? Yes. But he also said that what it did, it opened his other people's eyes to how they were living their lives. So by the fact that he had a heart attack and the two other people that had a heart attack also now know what they need to do to get their act together. So basically, he was saying it's basically a matter of taste. And this is how we live our lives. When we go to the grocery stores and we go to restaurants and whatever we're bringing into our homes, basically it's the same thing. It's a matter of taste. It's not a matter of health. We're not eating for health. We're just eating for taste. And the food companies that he's buying from and the grocery stores and the food manufacturers understand the exact same thing this guy's doing. It's a matter of taste. It's not a matter of health. He also made a great point. He said he cooked his French fries in lard, but the funny thing is lard doesn't even have trans fats. And trans fats is the thing was the big problem with our fats. And in the supermarkets are selling trans fats. They sell margarine. Margarine is a trans fat. And people buy margarine every single day. So this guy's telling you, we don't have trans fats, we have lard, but everybody gets upset because he has lard. It's probably actually better to cook it in lard than these trans fats. Another thing I noticed that the prices were extremely high. These burgers are $15, $20, $18. I saw for the prices. They only serve basically the food that they serve is basically just burgers and fries and bacon. Again, he was completely honest, and he tells you this food is dangerous. But when you go into a McDonald's and these guys are trying to tell you they have the most quality meats, is healthy, we know. You guys know, the Americans, that those foods in these fast food restaurants are not healthy, but they're trying to be deceptive and tell you that they're healthy. And that's what he points out. He says, basically, people have a right to die. That's what he said. And he was selling a legal commodity that is legal to sell in the United States. I'm not saying that is a good thing, but he is no different than these other restaurants. Like I would say, would you rather get stabbed in the back, or would you rather get shot in the back, or would you rather get shot in your chest? See, he's not stabbing you in the back. He's being honest with you. He's looking you right in your face and saying, this is not healthy. And people are still coming in there and buying his burgers. Is that his fault? No. He has a right, just like the food companies in this country, to sell whatever they want. There is no regulations to any of the foods that we were selling. Now, I want you guys to understand I want to read you guys something that I would say 99% of Americans do not know. Back in 2005, under the Bush administration, there was a bill that was passed. And one of the reasons why it was passed is because the obesity problem in America was becoming so high. And so they passed this bill. It's called the cheeseburger bill, basically. And what this cheeseburger bill, and I'm going to read you a little bit about it. It says the cheeseburger bill was a bill that was passed in late 2005. Representative Dan Boren from Oklahoma voted yes to passing the cheeseburger bill. This bill was developed, and listen to this, to prohibit citizens from suing the food industry and blaming them for becoming overweight or obese. This bill pertains to anyone suing for distributing food in markets, advertising, or sells a quality food product in the food industry or trade. I'm going to read a little part of that one more time. This bill was developed to prohibit citizens from suing the food industry and blaming them for becoming overweight and obese. So basically, this is what he's doing. You can't go in there and blame this guy. That's up to you. If you want to go in there and you want to eat that food, you can go in there and eat that food anytime you want. That's incredible. So this is the attitude that we have in this country. If you want to go out to restaurants and get fat, don't go in these places thinking just because they sell a salad that this stuff is healthy. They are no Applebee's restaurants. All these chain restaurants are selling their food just as bad as what these guys are doing. But these guys are not being deceptive about what is going on with their foods. So I wanted you to just take a look at that. I thought it was quite interesting. And basically, this is what we want in this country. So, again, with your weight, anytime. Hey, I also noticed, I'll say one more thing, is that if you're 350 pounds or more, you got to eat free. I thought that was great marketing, what he was talking about. And, I mean, it was crazy. So that tells you how many overweight people there are in this country. It's out of control. And, you know, I watched some other videos. There are kids in here. Parents are actually, there were some other videos that you can go and watch about the Heart Attack Grill where their kids are in there eating this stuff. And we know the obesity problem because I'm pushing obesity problem because once, for the 20th time, once you're overweight, then they got you. The average American is on 11 meds for various illnesses. The pharmaceutical industry is in the hundreds, up near $1 trillion in profits. But the most important thing is watching these type of videos, changing your mind, changing your attitude, teaching your children to live. This is why I'm pushing for the last 30 years. I've been pretty much underground. And now we want to try to help as many people get this weight off. It's not that difficult. And most important thing, as long as you stay out of these restaurants, these fast foods, and have a little bit of a game plan, the weight comes off fast. So, you can go to Food Drama TV. Top of the page, you'll see the diet of the program. Click it, order it. It's only $29.99. Now, I used to manage Nutrisystem. I worked in Jenny Craig, and you can't even imagine how much money. And I know you guys know how much they cost. And they're feeding you processed foods. Weight Watchers, they push processed foods. And what we're trying to do, our team of experts, is get you off this drama so that you start losing weight. And once the weight comes off, all these symptoms that you're having are going to go down. And by the fact that you're still watching these videos and you're learning, your health is going to change dramatically. Anyway, family, don't forget to subscribe. That's what we need more than anything. We need to subscribe so we can get our, so we can monetize the channel. So that's all I have today. Enjoy your blessings. I'm out.